do you think? Good. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning, October 29, 2019. And I was just thinking, so it's Tuesday, and Thursday is actual Halloween day. So we're going to have trick-or-treaters coming through and all that stuff. This year I do not have Grant for the holiday. So he will be over and with his mom for the Halloween holiday. So he'll be doing trick-or-treating and all that with her. So this networking stuff is turning out to be a lot of fun. And now I'm starting to see more and more why Luke enjoys it quite so much. So at home I got a Unify setup. So I'm running an EdgeRouter an EdgeRouter ER3 Lite and an Edge Switch 10X. And I'm also running, what else do I got over there? A mesh access point, and that's running via PoE, 24 volt PoE through the Edge switch. It provides up to 24 volt PoE. So that's not like full-fledged PoE, like the Cisco stuff requires 48 volts. This is considered like a lightweight PoE or something like that. So last night I implemented for the first time on the EdgeRouter. This is the ER3 Lite, meaning it only has 3 ports. But I implemented QoS. So QoS is quality of service, and specifically I wanted to do this for the VoIP phone that we have. So we don't have a phone like through our carrier, which works awesome, and it's designed for that, and it's probably a lot of money to rent that and all that. We have a Magic Jack phone. So Magic Jack is kind of like a standalone VoIP phone, which requires an internet connection. So you have to plug it in or feed it an internet connection, and then you are able to, once it's on the internet, then it works. The issue we were having was that it would, there was a lot of jitter and delay and lag and loss. So from my understanding, voice over IP uses a protocol called UDP. And UDP, when the packets are lost, unlike TCP can just retry and kind of keep retrying until it gets the whole piece of the puzzle or the whole packet or the or whatever it's trying to do. With UDP, it's live. So if you lose a packet or drop a packet, it's gone. You're not going to be able to retry that. So, and it makes sense because it's like for a phone. When you're talking to somebody live, they're, speaking sentences. And if they drop a word or two, or if the packet drops, you're going to miss a word or two out of their sentence. So that's kind of how voice over IP works. It's a live protocol. So the issue we were having was, it's a little laggy and all that to begin with. So when you when you use it, it's glitchy, and when you pick up the phone, you're like, hello, and you gotta say like hello like 2 or 3 times, and then the other person can hear you. So I turned on this feature it's unique to Unify, I believe, but it's called Smart Q. And it's underneath the QoS genre or settings. And it basically automatically throttles your internet bandwidth to be optimal and ideal for your network. So typically you would have to traffic shape, do all kinds of things, set priorities for voice, priorities for data, all that sort of stuff. But with this, it just kind of does it automatically. So the way they said to test it was, when you set it up, you have to put in your ISP bandwidth. So you had to run a speed test. So we were getting around 230 megabits per second download and just over 11 megs up. And so it plugged that in, enabled it, and enabled it for inbound and outbound traffic. And then tested it out. So as soon as I enabled it, I ran another speed test immediately, and it went from 230 megs down to just over 70. And it went from a little over 11 megs up to around 10. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I was trying to more or less figure out what it was doing, because it said like they typically leave, or it leaves like a 5% margin from your max. And but I was thinking about it more and more and more, and the Unify mesh access point for Wi-Fi, when I'm connected to that, I can pull just around 70 megs down. So I think it's trying to average that across the board. Because when I was doing the speed tests, the numbers that I just gave, that was with from my server that was hard connected with a wire to my switch. So that would be normally faster anyway, faster than the Wi-Fi connections. So it's almost like it's spreading it out. So it's doing, let's say, like 70 for the mesh or for the Wi-Fi. It's probably doing 70 for the hard connections, and then maybe 70 for the VoIP or something. So that would be about 210 megs total, if you think of it that way. And it was a little over 70, so it was probably about 220 or something total. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So then also to test it, if it drops your speed test, that means it's working. Let me just put that out there. But so I did another test where I just called the VoIP house phone. And typically when I call from my cell phone and my parents or somebody answers, they say hello, and I don't even hear that. There's like a pause for like 2 seconds. So as soon as I dialed, as soon as I hit the dial button, the phone in the house started ringing immediately. I thought that was cool. Now that I think about it, I might have been doing like Wi-Fi calling, so I might have been like in the network when I did that. And then as soon as my mom answered, she was the one helping me test. She said hello. I could hear that at the very first instance. So I just realized that that's something that I'll need to test outside of the network. I should have turned off my Wi-Fi. I didn't even think about that at the time. So it works really well, at least for that initial test. I don't know. We'll have to take it from there. But so there's some more stuff to it and all that. I just getting started. So, because I drew out a diagram and explained the whole new network setup to my mom, and she was like, wow. Because I explained to her how the Comcast setup does everything built into it. And the way I'm doing it is kind of manually or on my own. And she said, well, why would you do that? So 1 is for quality of service. 2 is for faster Wi-Fi speeds. So we were pulling maybe around 40 megabits on the Comcast built-in Wi-Fi access point, and now I'm pulling just over 70. And it might have even been less than that. I think I'm at like 2.5x or almost 3x the Wi-Fi speed now, so it's faster. So faster Wi-Fi speeds, and then I can set up a proxy server for blocking malicious or bad websites. So when Grant gets older, pornography websites and dark web type stuff that he shouldn't be playing on. And then what else was I gonna do? And then I was gonna set up VPN access, and I've been talking about this for a long time. I just haven't implemented it yet. So I'm still working on learning and figuring out how to configure all of that. But basically like a PIA VPN for one of the Wi-Fi access points that's being broadcast, and for one of the or for like 1 or 2 of the hard connected ports. So that should let me if I'm plugged into either of those 2 ports or on that designated specific SSID for Wi-Fi, then I'm going out through a VPN tunnel. and that traffic is protected or whatever. So VPN, it's a secure VPN tunnel. So that's what I'm going to work on implementing soon here. It's it's going to be one of those things. So it's just going to take a little bit of work and time and effort. So yeah, I'm headed into work. Probably what I'm going to do is physically move that access point, that Cisco access point that I created and set up yesterday at work. I'm going to move that to a different point or different part of the data center, and that'll give me better coverage. Right now it's in the corner. And then I think I'm going to leave that alone for now. I do have one more access point that's at home that I could flash, but I also have one more autonomous access point that's supposed to arrive soon. So I might not flash that other one. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still kicking around the idea, because I wasn't really able to flash and back up the non-autonomous light firmware. Once I flash that third one, then it's gone. I don't have a copy of that firmware. So that's my thought. So stay tuned for more.